You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Trump vows strong action if protesters are hanged in Iran, urges Iranians to keep protesting and says help is on its way as death toll climbs to at least 2,000. Iran accuses US of seeking pretext for military intervention. India and the US discussed trade, critical minerals and nuclear power as US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar hold a phone call. South Korea court to give verdict in ex-president's martial law case on February 19th as prosecutors seek death penalty for Yoon. US designates Egyptian, Lebanese and Jordanian branches of the Muslim Brotherhood as global terrorists, citing their support for Hamas. Egypt welcomes the move while the group vows to challenge the decision. And in cricket, India to take on New Zealand in the second ODI in Rajkot with an aim to seal the series. Men in blue leading with 1-0 in three-match series. And on to the details now. US President Donald Trump on Tuesday warned Iran that the United States would react strongly if authorities in Iran started hanging people in their crackdown on a popular uprising against the government. In an interview, when asked about hangings potentially beginning on Wednesday, Trump said he believes that the killing is significant and that his administration would act accordingly. He also added that he believed the Iranian government was badly misbehaving. Trump comments came after Iranian authorities said that they will press charges punishable by death against some individuals arrested during recent demonstrations. Earlier, Trump urged Iranians to keep protesting and remember the names of those abusing them, saying help is on the way.
You're going to have to figure that one out, I'm sorry.
So many people have been killed in Iran.
Nobody's been able to give me an accurate number. I have heard numbers from, everything's a lot, one is a lot. But I've heard numbers much lower and I've heard numbers much higher. We'll be knowing, we're probably going to find out over the next 24 hours. I think it's a lot.
Well, speaking to reporters at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland, Trump said that Iran was on his mind and that he expected an update on the situation soon as death toll in Iran was unclear.
Iran is on my mind when I see the kind of death that is happening over there, we think. So we're going to get some accurate numbers. I'll have it in about 20 minutes. We'll get some accurate numbers as to what's happening with regard to the killing. The killing looks like it's significant, but we don't know yet for certain. I'll know within 20 minutes. So, and we'll act accordingly.
Well, on the other hand, Iran accused the United States of trying to create a justification for military intervention a day after US President Donald Trump warned of strong action in response to a deadly crackdown on widespread protest in the country. In a post on X, Iran's mission to the United Nations said US fantasies and policy towards Iran are rooted in regime change, with sanctions, threats, engineered unrest and chaos serving as a modus operandi to manufacture a pretext for military intervention. Meanwhile, an Iranian official said at least 2,000 people had been killed, the first time authorities have given an overall death toll from more than 2 weeks of nationwide unrest. Also, the United States on Tuesday designated the Egyptian, Lebanese and Jordanian branches of the Muslim Brotherhood as global terrorists. The move, which Washington formally set in motion last November, will bring sanctions against one of the Arab world's oldest and most influential Islamist movements. The Washington accused the trio of supporting or encouraging violent attacks against Israel and U.S. partners, citing in part what it called their support for Palestinian terrorist group Hamas. Also, Egypt's foreign ministry welcomed the move, describing it as a crucial step that reflects the gravity of the group and its extremist ideology. It added that the group represents a direct threat of regional and international security and stability. The Muslim Brotherhood won Egypt's first free presidential election in 2012, but was overthrown by the military a year later after mass protest against its rule, and has endured a fierce crackdown by authorities since then. And in the days since deposing Nicolas Maduro, President Trump has given several justifications for his dramatic action in Venezuela. But the thing Trump is most focused on, the thing he keeps pointing to as central to his ambitions, is oil. Now, specifically opening Venezuela's vast oil fields to American companies. He reiterated the same yet again on Tuesday while speaking at an event in Detroit. He said that the U.S. is taking in millions and millions of barrels of oil worth billions of dollars from the South American country, and in the passage will to make that country very strong again.
We're bringing Venezuela back, and we're going to be great for Venezuela, great for our country. We're taking in, as I said, millions and millions of barrels of oil, and now they're coming in initially on a daily basis, 50 million, and values of over $5 billion. That's in one day. We're going to work with Venezuela. We'll make that country very strong again. We'll get oil prices down even further. We have it down at about a 6-year low, 7-year low, but we're going to get it down.
Meanwhile, Washington continues to consolidate control of oil shipments in and out of Caracas. The U.S. government has filed for court warrants to seize dozens more tankers linked to the Venezuelan oil trade. The U.S. military and Coast Guard have seized 5 vessels in recent weeks in international waters that were either carrying Venezuelan oil or have done so in the past. Trump imposed a blockade to prevent sanctioned tankers from shipping Venezuelan oil in December that brought exports close to a standstill. Shipments have resumed this week under U.S. supervision. And Venezuela's state energy company, PDVSA, has begun reversing oil production cuts made under a strict U.S. oil embargo as crude exports resume under U.S. supervision. The state company is now instructing the joint ventures to resume output from well clusters that were shut. Meanwhile, the third oil tanker set sail from Venezuela's coast on Tuesday, signaling a Bahamas terminal as destination. Notably, the OPEC members' oil exports fell close to zero in the weeks after the United States imposed a blockade on oil shipments in December, with only U.S. oil major Chevron exporting crude from its joint ventures with PDVSA under U.S. license. And moving on, South Korea's special prosecutor requested the death penalty on Tuesday for former President Yoon Suk-yeol on charges of masterminding an insurrection over his brief imposition of martial law in December 2024. Now, South Korea has not carried out a death sentence in nearly 3 decades. In closing arguments at the Seoul Central District Court, a prosecutor said investigators confirmed the existence of a scheme allegedly directed by Yoon and his former defense minister Kim Yong-hyun dating back to October 2023, designed to keep Yoon in power. Although Yoon has denied the charges, saying he declared martial law to fend off the wickedness that would ruin the nation. The court is expected to rule on the case in February. And Costa Rica's government on Tuesday said it had uncovered a plot to assassinate President Rodrigo Chaves on the eve of national elections, in which his right-wing party is tipped for victory. Now, the popular Shev's, constitutionally barred from seeking a second consecutive term, has backed one of his former ministers, Laura Fernandez, to succeed him. Fernandez is riding high in polls with a campaign to crack down hard on drug traffickers, blamed for a surge in violence in the picture postcard Caribbean country. George Torres, head of the Central American nation's Directorate of Intelligence and National Security, cited a confidential source as informing the agency that an assassin had been paid to kill Shev's. And moving on to some weather news now. In Central Europe, freezing rain led to travel disruptions, including flights being temporarily suspended at several airports. Extreme weather briefly closed Budapest airport on Tuesday due to black ice and extreme icing, crowding flights and causing major disruption to the travellers. The closure caused a backlog of delayed flights and a small number of cancellations as well. A thick layer of ice on the Vienna airport runways led to a temporary shutdown, with flights gradually resuming around midday on Tuesday. In neighbouring Slovakia, the Bratislava airport was also closed temporarily early on Tuesday due to bad weather. In the Czech Republic, ice was also hampering road and rail traffic. Prague airport came to a virtual standstill, with firefighters having to de-ice the runways. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. PM Modi to attend Pongal celebrations in Delhi as nation marks the Harvest Festival. US stocks slip as financial shares fall. Trump credit card rate cap proposal weighs on the markets. And Manchester United appoints Michael Carrick as the head coach until the end of the season.
The land of forests, nature's hidden jewel. Jharkhand is a traveler's paradise. Get ready for a sensory extravaganza, complete with ancient traditions and world-class lifestyles, breathtaking scenic beauties and heart-stopping adventure. Thousands of years of faith preserved in magnificent temples, marvels of new age infrastructure.
Can I resist?
An abundance of prehistoric heritage flowing through generations.
I've heard so much about the expertise behind this vibrant Sorai art.
Discover new horizons. Discover yourself. Discover Jharkhand. Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held a telephonic conversation with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Tuesday. The two leaders held detailed discussion on trade, critical minerals, nuclear cooperation, defense and energy. Both sides agreed to remain in touch on these and other issues as well. Also, India has underscored the importance of securing critical mineral supply chains to power its clean energy and electronics growth. In attendance at a high-level ministerial meeting in the US, India's Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw said that access to critical minerals is vital for India's manufacturing resilience and climate goals. The Indian government is advancing this push through the National Critical Minerals Mission to support energy transition and electric mobility.
India on Monday participated in the Critical Minerals Ministerial Meeting hosted by US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in Washington. India's Minister of Electronics and IT, Ashwini Vaishnaw, represented the country in the high-level meeting. The minister said that strengthening critical mineral supply chains is vital to enhancing the resilience of India's manufacturing capabilities and rapidly growing electronics sector.
As we all know, and especially in India, when the manufacturing sector is growing rapidly, especially electronics manufacturing, it's very important for all the countries, including India, to have a resilient supply chain of critical minerals. So in this meeting, participants from various countries, they discussed their experience, the steps that they are taking in making the supply chain resilient, especially technology for refining, processing the mineral ores so that high quality critical minerals, especially the rare earth, permanent magnets, those kind of materials can be secured in a long term, in a sustainable manner.
India's stance on critical minerals, reiterated by IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, highlights the country's commitment to its climate goals, which are 45% reduction in emissions intensity of GDP by 2030 from 2005 levels, 50% of installed power capacity from non-fossil sources by 2030, net zero emissions by 2070. The government says access to critical minerals is key to meeting India's long-term energy transition objectives. To achieve these climate goals, India launched the National Critical Mineral Mission in 2025. Its objective is to establish robust framework for self-reliance in the critical mineral sector. Under this mission, the Geological Survey of India has been tasked with holding 1,200 exploration projects from 2024-25 to 2030-31. The mission plays a vital role by building a resilient and self-reliant ecosystem for critical minerals. The mission focuses on boosting domestic production, encouraging private sector participation, strengthening international partnerships, and streamlining regulations to ensure a steady supply of minerals essential for clean energy technologies. The mission aims to secure India's critical mineral supply chain by ensuring mineral availability from domestic and foreign sources. Critical minerals have immense value in terms of being used as essential components of various clean energy technologies and industries like solar energy, wind energy, and as components in the making of electric vehicles. Under India's National Electric Mobility Mission Plan, the country plans to deploy 6 to 7 million EVs, leading to increased demand for these critical minerals. Bureau Report, DD India.
And as the nation is celebrating Pongal, a 4-day harvest festival, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be attending the celebrations at the residence of Union Minister of State L. Murugan in New Delhi. Across India's southern state of Tamil Nadu, the spirit of Pongal is already in the air. The 4-day festival reflects unity, tradition and joy.
Students in Tamil Nadu's Thoothukudi district are taking part in celebrations ahead of the annual harvest festival, Pongal. Dressed in traditional outfits, students in schools and colleges are showcasing their skills in folk dances and music.
Parents enjoyed a lot. There were many skits and Tamil songs were sung. We showed traditional pots. We were taken on bullock cart rides. We enjoyed a lot. We were served Pongal too. It was delicious.
At the Government Nursing Training College, students participated in games and cultural programs in the spirit of equality.
We celebrated Samatuva Pongal, keeping all difference among us away. We played many traditional Tamil games. We also performed Tamil folk arts. We pray that everyone should be able to celebrate Pongal like we did.
At Holy Heart College in Tirupattur, African students joined in the celebrations with equal excitement. In Madurai, preparations are in full swing for the Avaniyapuram Jallikattu, the bull taming event held around Pongal. Some foreign nationals participated in a Pongal event held at Tiruchirappalli District Collectorate. Government officials too immersed themselves in the Pongal spirit at Theni District Collectorate. The 4-day Pongal festival will be celebrated across Tamil Nadu from Wednesday.
And on to some business news now. U.S. stocks ended lower on Tuesday, led by a drop in financial shares as comments from JP Morgan executives added to worries about U.S. President Donald Trump's recent proposal for a cap on credit card rates. The S&P 500 lost 13.53 points, while the Nasdaq Composite lost 24.03 points. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by 398.21 points. Investors also digested a report from early in the day showing that a reading on inflation for December came in as expected, leaving intact market expectations for interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve this year. Airbus on Monday disclosed net orders of 889 aircraft for the year. Boeing still lags behind Airbus in terms of the total number of undelivered planes following stumbles in the wake of fatal 2018 and 2019 crashes of the 737 MAX that have weighed on U.S. CEO Ed Bastian said Delta is the only major U.S. airline that does not use the popular Boeing plane. He said the company is confident in Boeing, pointing to improvements under CEO Kelly Ortberg. And shoppers in Buenos Aires are still struggling with high living costs, even though inflation has slowed. Official data released on Tuesday showed Argentina's inflation rate ended 2025 at 31.5%. In December alone, prices rose by 2.8%, slightly higher than an analyst had expected. Many retirees said their pensions are not keeping up with the rising expenses. President Javier Milei's government, which took office in late 2023, has made low. And the Inter-American Development Bank announced a $4.5 billion US financing package for Bolivia during a visit by IDB President Ilan Golfan to La Paz. Golfan stated the package for 2026-28 represented nearly 6 times the previous period's landing, with approximately $2 billion potentially disbursed in 2026 to support economic stabilization in sectors including mining, energy, agribusiness and tourism. The announcement came as Bolivia grapples with an economic crisis marked by 20.4% inflation in December 2025, severe dollar shortages and chronic fuel capacity, with Paz recently lifting fuel subsidies that had cost the government $2 billion US annually.
4-wicket victory in the opening encounter. Virat Kohli once again played a match-winning 93-run knock, while Shubman Gill scored vital half-century and Shreyas Iyer looked solid following his return from injury. There were also positives for New Zealand. Openers Devon Conway and Henry Nicholls both slammed 50s, while Daryl Mitchell came up with an impressive 84-run knock. Kylie Jamieson was arguably the best pacer with 4 wickets. India would hope to press home advantage once again to outplay the Kiwis. The hosts suffered a setback when Washington Sundar was ruled out of the series due to an injury. The selectors have called up Delhi batter Ayush Badoni, but it is likely that all-rounder Nitish Kumar Reddy will get the nod. Overall, both the teams have played 121 ODIs, with India holding the upper hand with 63 victories, while New Zealand were victorious in 50 matches. 1 match ended in tie and 7 produced no result. In the last 5 matches, India have dominated New Zealand, winning all. Now the stage is set for an exciting second one-day as both the teams aim to gain an upper hand. Sports Desk, DD India.
And Premier League club Manchester United on Tuesday appointed Michael Carrick as the head coach until the end of the season. Carrick replaces Ruben Amorim, who was sacked early this month and faces an immediate baptism of fire, with his first match being the derby against second-placed Manchester City at Old Trafford on Saturday. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Vipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.